Hi everyone, welcome to Film Log Update number 22, covering most of the films that I watched or rewatched during May and June 2023. So yes, we're back once again. As always, the Film Log Updates, very informal, just me going through what I've been watching, over particular months. Obviously, the end of July now, but that's what I usually do, at least in the second half of the month, after the previous two, just the way I do it, and then I go through these films, laptop in front of me, obviously, and very informal, just logging my thoughts, on YouTube, and then as well, getting talking points for a variety of different films in the comments, potentially. So yes, tell me what you've been watching, as well as, your thoughts, if you want, on these films, but yeah, what have you been watching for the last few months, even as we are, towards the end of July now, even just what you've been watching in July, it would be great to hear anything you've been watching and want to share. So yes, as well at the end, as always, I do like a kind of favourite first watch of May and June. So we look forward to that as well. And yes, let's dig in. So on the laptop here with my film diary. So first film of May was, of course, a Carry On film, and that was Carry On Cabby. So yeah, I've been going through many of these films. Obviously, that was one of the first, in this recent series. I'm going through them. It started at the very end of April. I believe it was, mid-April actually. Starting to rewatch slash watch these films. But yes, Carry On Cabby was definitely one of the first ones in that sense I'd done. An enjoyable film. I reviewed that one. Obviously, the staggered reviews will come of these films, out of order, obviously, just all over the place. But eventually, the 30 films of the Carry On series will be reviewed. The actual, proper films in that sense. So yes, the reviews are up for that. And Carry On, Don't Lose Your Head as well. I did review that film, and that was up around the time of that. So there we go. Next up, we have Close. A very interesting film here, very unique. Very, very emotional film, this, from 2022. Wouldn't want to kind of get into the plot at all. Just, if you're interested in the film, you look it up and check it out, I would say. And yeah, definitely took a lot out of me, just emotionally, I guess. And yeah, very commendable film though. But yeah, it's certainly one that perhaps I wouldn't be watching, rewatching this film really. It's definitely a very, very, very harrowing film, to watch. But yes, very commendable as well and very unique in the way it was made. So yes, Close, of course, from 2022. Then we have, of course, Carry On Doctor. A review will be up for this at some point soon. Memories of this, it's one of the Carry On films that I watched massively as a kid, so many times, and I do love this film. So look out for the review for that. That will come at some point, as I say, staggered reviews of these films. But yes, Carry On Doctor, love this film. Then we have The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Rewatching this film, of course, this German expressionism film. Not one of my favourite silent films. If you see my channel, I am an obsessed fan, of cinema, but silent cinema. Certainly, I'm just in awe of silent films, and I love silent cinema, obviously. So yes, but this is just not, one of my favourites. It's definitely an impressive film. I did enjoy it, of course, rewatching this film, but it's a film that doesn't, kind of blow me away in terms of the actual. Getting invested in this film, it's more of a I'm admiring it kind of thing. In the style, stunning sets. The way the angles, the way it's shot, and it's obviously a great Blu-ray that I watched it on Master of Cinema. As always, seeing these silent films, on Master of Cinema, a real treat. But yes, just not one of my favourites. I do prefer other silent films, but obviously it was cool to see it again. So yes, that's that. Then we have Carry On the Khyber. Obviously, again, reviews will come of these. For now, though, yes, definitely one that I enjoy. Not one of my absolute favourites. Obviously, it's quite high on a lot of rankings out there. And I get that, but for me, it was definitely it was not one of the worst or anything like that, but certainly not a film that I'd put up there with, for example, Carry On Cleo, these types of films. But it's definitely an enjoyable film. Then we have Commando, of course, Arnold, seeing another film with this actor. Just wow, this is quite hilarious at times. Just a solid film overall. It's nothing too great for me, but I did enjoy it, and just a wacky, kind of just insane, villains, all this, stuff. A lot of kind of films like this, campy action films. It's always great to see the villain or multiple villains and see how over the top they go. And it certainly ticks the box, for that. So very enjoyable film, Commando, and yeah, it was cool to see. I think I'd seen bits of this before, as a kid, but never actually all the way through, so because there were certainly parts I have no recollection of. So, but I do remember some, the early parts and stuff. So yes, Half Nelson, Ryan Gosling in this film. It was a commendable film. And certainly, I think it started out better, and it just kind of lost me, and I wasn't really that invested in a lot of the narrative. But overall, an okay film. I do praise it. It was fine. Just it's really really dark, and it's a bit one of those that is kind of one-sidedly kind of in terms of how it makes you feel. There wasn't really much hope for me in it, and it was just it just didn't really make me feel that great afterwards, kind of thing. And again, at the same time, it wasn't immensely investing. So it was okay. I do praise this film. Ryan Gosling was very good in this. So yes. Next up, we have Night at the Museum. Of course, Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, Robin Williams. All these great actors, and yeah, this is a film that I saw before as a kid. It's kind of I was never big on this film, and I thought perhaps I'll come around to a bit more. It's definitely okay. I do like this film. It's just it's nothing more than that for me personally. And just it's definitely things I think I should have been loving, but I wasn't. So it's a fine film. It's great to see different. Loads of actors in this, of course, comedy actors, and it's Hank Azaria, of course, is in the second film, which we'll talk about now, and yes, Night at the Museum 1, is okay, but it's way better than the second one for me, because that was a bit of a insane watch. That one, just thinking on that, that was not a film that I enjoyed personally. The second one, and holding off on the next entry for now. But yes, this is just a bit of a disappointing sequel. Things that I thought I think they could have took further. They didn't, and it was just very the comedy in the second film. Just didn't really do it for me all that much, and off to a bit more of a decent start, but it soon went off the rails, and very very disappointing sequel to me. But the first. As I say, the first Night at the Museum is a fine enough film and an enjoyable watch. So yes, obviously more carry on here. Carry on camping. Again, Doctor. Camping I'll be re-reviewing on the channel. It was the only Carry On I reviewed years ago though, so that'll be up soon. And Carry On again, Doctor. I had seen this as a kid, at least most of it, and yes, an enjoyable one. Again, I look forward to reviewing after obviously Carry On Doctor, as it is. Kind of a sequel of sorts, although very unrelated, completely actually. So, yeah, just a heads up there. A Matter of Life and Death, rewatching this film, and obviously a Powell and Pressburger film, that I do love. This is just, it's a great film. I think, at times, perhaps, in terms of Michael Powell, Peeping Tom, is a film that I saw recently. That, in some ways, I prefer that, but overall, Matter of Life and Death is just so stunning, and a very unique film in the way it's told, and just love the romance in this film, and just the fantasy elements. So yes, really inspiring in the way it's written, and just wow, visuals to this film, absolutely stunning, and. Just little characters, perhaps side characters that really stand out. It's just iconic characters. Magnificent Seven. What can I? I wasn't big on this film, Magnificent Seven. Again, as well as silent films, I'm a massive Western fan. I'm obsessed with westerns. But this one, one of the kind of iconic ones. I'm not big on. It was fine. I guess probably good. Yeah, for me. Started out a lot better for me, but it was never great really. And obviously the iconic score. Obviously as well. I'm not going to hold against this film. It's a remake of sorts of Seven Samurai, and because Seven Samurai is a masterpiece. I'm not going to then say that's why I don't think this is too great. I just don't think this is really anything mind blowing to me. And obviously, I do prefer Seven Samurai, but that's not what I was thinking. I wasn't comparing the two. After all, Fistful of Dollars is a remake of Yojimbo, and I do separate those films. It's at least an unofficial one there. But yes, this film it's just a bit bland. That was the thing in the characters characterization, and I think the way it was told as well. It's just very much it was plodding through, and I just think it really. Just the way it was told, the way it was directed, unfortunately, and put together, edited, just it didn't really stand out to me. It wasn't a Western film that I was highly immersed in, really. But it had its moments. Yul Brynner, as well, definitely very good in this film, and some of the actors are good in this film, and but just some of the characters is kind of there for me as well, and that's one of the things. The characters, it's the way it's told, and just. In this narrative, which is very, very simple on paper, of course. Seven Samurai really, told it so clearly. This one, is a bit muddled as well. So, not a film that I'm big on personally. Magnificent Seven, many westerns I much prefer. Just going through there. Shazam. Finally watched this film. Actually, really enjoyable. This one stands out. Among the DCU. Probably one of the best, at least. I would say, and so I'm not huge on on this universe overall, but there's a few like Wonder Woman, obviously, and Man of Steel, and this film. They're the best ones for me. Just a nice, kind of different, and kind of bit more personal, superhero film, and it was very funny at times. Some of the comedy didn't work, but it was a warm film. I liked the family scenes, and that whole kind of feeling of the film, family and kind of outcasts and all this. So it was done very well, actually, and a lot of the action was good as well. So it wasn't, a few years ago when I saw the trailer, I wasn't, kind of that enticed, but it surprised me pleasantly. So yeah, Shazam had a lot going for it in the writing as well. So Carry On Loving. This is a very solid outing. Again, I'll get to these Carry On films, but yeah, definitely, I do enjoy this one. Loving, it was very nice to see. Then I started rewatching the Paranormal Activity films, so Paranormal Activity 2. I think 2 and 3 actually. Last time around I said 2 was better than 3, and obviously 3 shortly after, being the prequel, the main prequel of the franchise. I do enjoy these films. They're both good films. Not as good as the first for me, but they're the best to me sequels. Really of the franchise, and very very nice to see these films again. I just had the urge to kind of rewatch them. Quite soothing to watch, but also obviously very scary as well. Found footage films. Carry On Matron. I have many good things to say about this one. I will say one of my favourites, actually, so we'll get to that. For Ragnarok, rewatching obviously the MCU just over time, very slowly with different family members. One of my favourites for Ragnarok. It's always been a film that I've loved, and I've mentioned this before on the film log updates, so I won't get into it too much. So yes, just absolutely love it. Taika Waititi. Great director, all these films. Wow, really great director, and for Ragnarok, in many regards, is it's my favourite. It probably is, and there we go. So next up, seeing Red River. Perhaps I mentioned that Howard Hawks last time around. I was rewatching a few of his films, and a few of them, including Red River, I was just probably a bit dazed when I was watching them. I remember it wasn't at night time, or not that I need to watch films at night, but there was definitely things on that I need to do, and I fit it in, this film event, and I was just kind of there, admiring obviously the lovely visuals and all this, and just kind of thought, there's moments that I was thinking about afterwards, there we go. So I kind of I think it just kind of glossed over me, and overall for me, actually, I'm not big on this film at all. But I do, overall it's okay, but bare bones for me. Although I do disagree with the kind of the overall, the fact that the ending isn't that great, or the ending's bad. Personally, actually, was for me, I'm still kind of with the ending. I was thought it was quite good. So yeah, there we go. Overall, an okay film, not one of the best Howard Hawks films. But shortly after that, which I'll talk about now, Rio Bravo, rewatching that, stunning film, and easily my favourite, Howard Hawks film. This is for me a great film, and wow, yeah, among my favourite westerns. The characters in Rio Bravo, the wonderful script, the way, just getting used to the location, throughout, just a soothing film, one of those that you could watch, at least for me, all night, all day, and it's just so addictive in the way of getting to know the characters and all the different beats, along the way, and visually, it's just everything, about Howard Hawks that I do love. Just rolled into one actually, and this is the one that so far that I've seen that he really delivered. A truly great film. I obviously got many to see, but yeah, Rio Bravo, stunning film. Obviously John Wayne as well, one of my favourite actors. In terms of westerns, John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, Henry Fonda, of course. These ones, the very very best for me. Jimmy Stewart as well. Just absolutely amazing. Of course, legendary role in this film. So yes. Carry On at Your Convenience. Wasn't huge on this one overall, but again, an okay film that I'll get to at some point. Ted 2, finally seeing this film. Nowhere near as good as the first one. That was a really good film, Ted, for me. And but the second one was still solid. I think it had a lot of things that I wasn't big on. The comedy and the kind of modern, trendy humour that I found in it. But overall, definitely at times warm once again, and yeah, again, it wasn't really the things that kind of followed through from the first wasn't quite to my liking. But overall, it was a fine enough comedy. Nothing special, but I definitely enjoyed it there. So yeah. So yes, Pi by Darren Aronofsky. Great director. Wasn't big on this one, but it was interesting to see. How it started out. Obviously I had access to the Blu-ray. My brother, had that, and we watched this film, and yeah, it just wasn't big on this film at all. It was a big slog for me, and very interesting concepts, but just the way it was done wasn't really for me. So yeah, I didn't enjoy this film at all, unfortunately. But I do commend, obviously, the first Aronofsky film, feature film. So I gave it the time to watch it, and obviously respect for the filmmaker, to see where he began in that sense. But yeah, definitely he's made better films for me. He's made some masterpieces, and obviously Black Swan as well. Watched that recently, which I really liked. And next up we have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, of course. Yes, as I said, I think I mentioned it recently. I wasn't big on it, and yeah. The MCU in general, I'm actually really just dismayed by it, and the shows, and not bothering with all this, and going forward, and just the general direction that they've took after Endgame really, and certainly after the first few in Phase 4. Obviously Phase 5 is now underway, and yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, one of the very very worst MCUs, and actually getting to the point now where I'm starting to actually, in terms of the films, dislike these ones. So it's a shame, but there we go. It's really just this is just baffling what they're doing in these films, the way they're making them. This was really boring, and just I didn't like a lot of the changes to the characters. Just really didn't feel authentic at all. It didn't really feel like I was watching a proper MCU film, and it's just. Mix and match as well. I found with the actual all the villain stuff. The villain with what was going on there. I'm not going to get into spoilers and stuff, but wow, this is just an all-time low. What's going on? Really awful stuff in this. So it was a shame. But I'm looking at the kind of upcoming MCUs, or the ones that have just come out. I'll be there for Guardians 3. Seeing that at home, obviously, when that comes. Yes, and I'll probably really like that film at least, because I love Guardians 2 pretty much, and the first one, absolutely love that film. So I have faith, in those involved with that one. But seeing the rest of the upcoming MCUs over the next few years, I'm kind of out. I'm not really interested at all. In the next Avengers films and all this. So who would have thought? Just a year or so, and just there we go. For me, I was such a big fan, and I still am. Obviously, the first 3 phases especially. But there we go. Things can change. Franchises. Paranormal Activity 3, as I say, watched that film. Karen Abroad. Definitely a really enjoyable one as well. Karen film that I'll be talking about at some point. Then we have Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. What a baffling, once again, scenario here. This director who also directed The Sting, which I wasn't a fan of. Now, I was, I liked Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Obviously, once again, Paul Newman, Robert Redford teaming up. 2 actors that I love, but once again, I think it's just the way that this filmmaker is telling these stories that I'm just not personally huge on at all, and it was definitely underwhelming once again for me. So there we go. But yeah, I enjoyed it. But definitely not one of my favourite westerns. Once again, for me personally. So there we go. Karen Sargent reviewed that. That was the first Carry On film. So it was cool to review that and watch that film. Paranormal Activity 4. Definitely a film that I enjoyed. Better than I remembered at first, and then it was kind of just I realised why. I didn't rate it a bit higher than that, just kind of thing, because it does fizzle out in the final act and stuff. But a fine film. I don't think any of these films are bad. But yes, very, very nice to see again. So yes, then we have Paris, Texas. Now this, of course, starring Harry Dean Stanton in the lead. It's a film that I was intrigued by. I'd heard great things about this. Obviously, a lot of people have seen this film and they said it's great. And I loved it. I really did love this film. Again, looking back, obviously, I do think the first 20-25 minutes was just like a different film for me. Really, I wasn't thinking. At the beginning, I was thinking, that's unfortunate. I probably won't love this film. And then, really, it became just a great film after that. So. There's some things here and there that perhaps weren't perfect and stuff after that, but it's just really that first 20-25 minutes that was just, for me, it wasn't something I was drawn in by really and invested by too much, but then it really picked up, and I love this film. Very emotional, and just nostalgic in moments as well, and just wonderfully directed as well. So Paris, Texas. Of course, Days of Thunder. Tom Cruise, of course. Quite a funny film. This, just a very campy, and just wacky film. Obviously, Robert Duvall's in this film, and he was really funny in this. And it's not a film that I loved. Obviously, as well, in the Nicole Kidman in this film. So it was great to see different actors and stuff in this, but. Yeah, it was just it was fine. It was okay, but nothing stand out really to me. And, a bit of a, being kind of a NASCAR film. Just wasn't a film that I went in thinking I'd love. And I thought I could be surprised, but I didn't come out of it loving it, kind of thing. So there we go. Going through them, and Force Majeure. I didn't like this film really. Overall, it was. There's certainly a moment in this film that was absolutely disgraceful, and I just thought that is in poor taste. That really is not good for me. I have a thing with certain kind of just certain things that happens in films or whatever. It just kind of makes me feel really sick. And it happened in this film out of nowhere, and it's the way it was done. It was just really. What an awful scene, and stuff, and that kind of it tainted the final act. By the time that came around, I was lost, and I felt sick after the film. So, just it wasn't a great watch for me. Experience, and things to praise, but overall, it's just a bit of a it wasn't a very pleasant film to watch for me. I didn't wasn't a big fan of it. It wasn't a bad film overall, but certainly a moment or two really annoyed me. There's no need for it. So there we go. That was Into June. Carry On Nurse. After that, as I say, reviewing this film. Carry On Nurse was it was a fine film again. Not one of my favourites, and just a bit similar to Sergeant in the way it was told. Being very much not much of a carry-on film in that sense, just for me and my liking. But definitely again a solid film that I did enjoy. So Transporter 2, okay, it was fine. Nothing special, but a fine watch. Funny moments definitely here and there, and decent action as well. So Carry On Teacher again. This was one of the better early ones. The first 5 or so films, it was definitely one of the better ones. Did enjoy this one. Very nostalgic as well to see this, the setting, and I think the characters, the actors were given a lot to go with this time round as opposed to Sergeant, for example, where a lot of them were kind of backseated in a way. Then we have Paranormal 25. One of the better ones. I do really enjoy this film, and there's a lot to praise about this one. A good film, and just unique as well. Within the franchise, certainly. And we'll talk about 6 and 7. Of course, Paranormal 56 was a bit better than I remembered. The final act again wasn't that good, but yeah, overall it was a bit better than I remembered. It was quite enjoyable, this one, and Paranormal 57. Unfortunately, last time I said it was okay and I liked it. I've changed my mind a bit. It rarely happens, but it wasn't. It was very much just over the 60% mark, and then it's kind of gone down below that, kind of thing. And perhaps it was because it was it'd been a while since I saw a Paranormal 20 film, and I was just happy to see one. But seeing it again, the humour and all this, just I didn't like this film, and the ending was a bit silly for me. So it was the only one actually I do now say that I don't like in the franchise, and it's for me the worst one, the 7th one. So yeah, there we go. But 6 was definitely okay as well. So then we have Karen Constable. Not one of the standout ones again. Definitely one of the worst really for me. But again, it was okay. It was fun enough. Charming comedy film, and one of the early carry-ons that again it was nice to see. Pleasant viewing really. So there we go. The Long Goodbye. Robert Altman once again trying with this director, and it was a difficult film for me to take in terms of investment in the characters and stuff. The first couple of scenes, the first 20 minutes, I was really impressed by actually the way it showed this character, in his apartment and all this. It's very, I was very much, this was really good in a way. It's very there we go. We're kind of gonna like an Altman, but then it soon went off the rails and became one of those plodding for me, meandering, just uninvesting. I didn't really like the way Robert Altman was kind of dealing with characters in this film. They're just not characters that I cared about, and to me, they just didn't really act human. But again, all subjective in cinema. If you love these films, that's fine, but it's just not for me. And it's a shame because I really, on paper, and hearing about these films, Robert Altman films, like this and Nashville, I'm really hyped, and then I see them and I'm just disappointed, kind of thing. So there we go. I'm not a big fan, of Robert Altman films personally. Obviously, just me. But yeah, The Long Goodbye, I didn't like it. It wasn't a bad film overall, but just not for me really. So Real Brother we've mentioned, love this film. Karen Regardless, I think now this is a very interesting one. It's the first one actually. There's a bit of a change in direction, I think. In the franchise, a bit more of a carry-on film in that sense, and just really, I did enjoy this one, more than for example, The Sergeant and stuff like that. So it was very nice to see this, and Kenneth Williams and all these actors were given more to work with here, and it was a very nice film to see. So there we go. Miyazaki film, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. fascinating film. Again, one that I saw. This is my third watch. Is it? Yeah, I think it's my third watch of this film, and every time, I've wanted to kind of get, to like it more, and it's just not worked out. It's a shame. Massive fantasy fan, but this is, saying that though, it is a bit more sci-fi actually. To me, than fantasy in a lot of elements. Its root. In the core of the film actually. So but also the lore starts off very interesting, and then it just loses me every time, and the characters, and just the tone, and it's a bit of an annoying track in the film as well, that keeps playing, but visually it's obviously very nice. It's not one of my favorites visually for for these animes, but still, it is as always, really, it's definitely to praise. I do love at times the animation, that goes without saying. But just not big on this film. Do I like it? Actually, I'm now unsure. I was kind of thinking that I was, and then I was always trying to kind of think why I liked the film. Just I said to myself, I'll rewatch it and then I'll see why, and I can really put my finger on different things and how I feel about it. But now I think it's finally time to realise I'm not. If I do like the film, it's very much a bear like. It's overall definitely one of my least favourites from this legendary director. Personally, just not one that I'm huge on, Nausicaa. So there we go. Karen Cruising. A nice surprise at this one. I would say it's definitely a very nice film, and I put it above some of them in the series. So very nice to see. The Secret World of Arrietty. This is obviously kind of a borrower's type story, obviously based on that. So it was very nice to see. A solid film. I think started out better, but overall very nice to see, and it was quite charming. Could have been more in the way of characters, what happened, and the narrative, but it was a very nice light film, anime film. So I enjoyed watching this. It was very nice to see. Broken Arrow, John Woo, of course. Directing this film, Christian Slater, John Travolta. This was very much up my street, and just wow, this director, John Woo. There's something about his. I've not really seen his other films, but his American films, from what I can see, obviously what I can judge. I'm a really, really big fan of. This was not as good as, for example, Face Off or anything like that, but instantly when I saw it, I thought that was a really nice film, and just campy film. John Travolta is one of my favourite kind of action villains. Really, in this film, and seeing obviously different films as well, but seeing this, and he was just hilarious throughout, and I just loved the music obviously as well. Mentioned before, on my Scream 2 review, that it was taken from another film. Some of the music and that, Dewey's theme, and that's this film here, obviously Broken Arrow. So very bizarre, that kind of note there, but the music itself, absolutely loved, and just a very simple plot, and just I was with this film throughout. Really, a very charming, campy action film. So yes, really enjoyable. That would be a 4 stars rounded. So there we go. Peter Pan. Seeing this, the Disney film, obviously from the 50s. Never been huge on this, and this is no different this time round. It's not one that I love, but it's okay. It's enjoyable enough, and not too much to say there. The Quick and the Dead, Sam Raimi film, Western, kind of comedy film. Wasn't huge on this one personally. Didn't really enjoy the tone of this, and it kind of veered off, and I wasn't really. It was kind of just, Western, things taken from other westerns and kind of put into one, and kind of its own spin on it. Yes, wacky tone, but it just wasn't really for me overall. I didn't really, as a piece, enjoy this film. I enjoyed moments, the praise elements, but in terms of just the viewer, it wasn't one that I enjoyed really. But then we have Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Finally seeing this film, saw bits of it as a kid and stuff, but yes, this was a very, very pleasant surprise. In a way, I love this film. I really did, and it's just seeing this time travel element. These real life historical figures. In this, Socrates being one example. Hilarious film, loved this, and George Cullen as well in this film as kind of this side character who becomes more than that, and obviously Keanu Reeves, is just so good in this film. Keanu Reeves, wow, just great actor, and just so enjoyable seeing these two characters together as well. Very charming film. So, Billions Head, the first one. Obviously, there's a couple of films after, sequels. Look forward to those. But the first one, really highly enjoyable film, and just what a ride it was. It's one of those really adventurous film. So there we go. Then we have Assault on Precinct 13. Unfortunately, this was not a film I was a fan of. Had heard a lot about this film over the years, but this is one of my least favourite John Carpenter films. Personally, with all respect, I just much prefer a lot of the other ones. I wasn't big on Prince of Darkness, but I do prefer that to this film as well. It was just there's the moment I just thought, wow, that was not needed. And then from then on, I started noticing things I wasn't liking about the film. I was never really invested at first, and then it just became a real slog. I wasn't, the script was kind of baffling me as well. Just strange moments, and just constantly things I was just thinking, what was going on there? Why was that happening? And wasn't invested in this, and it's a kind of mainly one location, and that would be great if I liked the characters and stuff, but no, even the kind of villains, the gang members, for me, that was just kind of baffling to me, really. So there we have it. Assault on Precinct 13, a very, very iconic film, but not one that I personally enjoyed. So yes, the final Carry On films of the month was Carry On Cleo, and of course Carry On Cowboy. So yes, Carry On Cleo, I reviewed recently, and it's one of my favourites, of course. Check out the review if you want to hear my thoughts on that. Carry On Cowboy, a bit of a divisive one, you could say, and I certainly liked this film quite a bit. I thought it was a good film, actually, and one of the better ones from the Carry On series. So yeah, I really, I do appreciate when they're done well. A Western comedy, a lot you can kind of work with, obviously, as well, and different tropes that you can kind of, kind of celebrate in a comedic way, and certainly Carry On Cowboy, for the most part, did this very, very well. Jim Dale was a standout in this film, and great to see, obviously. But just Sid James as well. It was a very different role for him, and it's great to see this. And Kenneth Williams as well. Kind of a different, in many regards, but also very, very similar role. The Kenneth Williams that I love, is here. So yes. Definitely an enjoyable film, and last few films now. House of Wax, obviously Vincent Price, the version from '53. Hadn't seen this one before, and yes, a very nice film to see. I did enjoy this one quite a bit, and loved the sets, the theatricality of this. I think the opening scenes, though, that was just really, really, really good, and just highly investing. I think it never quite lived up to that. It's a very, very short film, this, but the first sort of 20 minutes, it didn't quite live up to that kind of opening, really, but definitely enjoyable throughout, and it's a charming film. Some obviously great moments with Vincent Price, and just very good, kind of good moments in this, in the final act as well. Obviously Charles Bronson in this film, a very early role for him, and it's great to see that, and it's just very very nice film to see, very pleasant, and also quite scary at times, but it's one of those just charming kind of theatrical horror films that I do love watching. So yes, House of Wax from '53, the Westerner, Western film with obviously Gary Cooper in this one. Yes, a film that I enjoyed. It was okay, but it was just, a lot of this film I wasn't big on. It's just a very conflicted film, experience that I had with it. Just wasn't. I wanted to really, really like this a lot more, but it was fine. It was okay. I guess it was enjoyable enough Western film. So yes. Then seeing True Grit, the original, saw bits of this before, but again, first time viewing for me really. So yes, I do really like this film. Definitely very investing, and wasn't big on one of the performances in particular in this film. But we won't get into all the particulars of going through the film now. But yes, definitely John Wayne is great in this film. He got an Oscar for this, so that's cool as well. And Robert Duvall, is very nice to see him as well in this film. I do think that Glenn Campbell is actually quite enjoyable in this film. So a lot of it's quite widely criticised performance. I thought it was very enjoyable. It's not the greatest performance in the world, but definitely I thought it was quite good. And seeing him with John Wayne was nice. The kind of pairing there, the chemistry. So yeah, things got better as well. The first 20 or so minutes when it was mainly just one character focusing on I'm just not a fan of that performance and characterization personally, so that wasn't working for me. But once John Wayne really came into it, it was very nice, the way it was shot and stuff. So yeah, a nice Western film that I did really like overall. So True Grit, the original, Sabrina, Billy Wilder film from '54. One of my favourite directors, Billy Wilder. Sabrina is not a film that I love personally. Obviously Audrey Hepburn, Humphrey Bogart, William Holden. Great cast. Love these individuals. But this film was just a bit bland for me, for whatever reason, and the tone was very, I don't know, just a strange tone. It's just, my mind, I was trying to once again get into the film more, and it was just kind of it wasn't allowing me to, for whatever reason, the tone of this, and the story beats, here and there, just kind of throwing me off, and in the end, it's just it was an okay film. I think actually it was an enjoyable film. It wasn't one that I loved, and I did want to love once again another Billy Wilder film, but it wasn't one of my favourites from this great director. But yes, Theatre of Blood. This was another Vincent Price film. I wanted to see one of those again, and quite a nice film, very unique. Diana Rigg is in this one, so that was great to see. I haven't really seen her in loads of films, actually, thinking on that, but yeah, she was very good in this film, and it was a bizarre one. At times, I think it could have been better, but overall, a charming enough horror film, very unique in what it was doing. House on Haunted Hill wasn't big on this one. Another Vincent Price film, really wasn't big on this one. Just a slog, and I don't know what's going on here. I was thinking, wow, this is not, I don't know what happened there, kind of thing. And I have forgotten this film now, so really, but yes, support your local sheriff, a Western parody. Now this is a very, very enjoyable film, and yes, I had a great time with this. Definitely a very enjoyable Western one. So there we go. Just going through them. That is, yes, the last ones to mention for May and June. So now we come to the favourite first watches of May and June, and for May it had to be Paris, Texas, directed by Wim Wenders. So this film, yeah, it did blow me away, and it was a kind of unexpected one after that first, as I say, 20 minutes. So I wasn't big on. It was hard for me to get invested, but then it really just it blew me away, and by the end of this film, it just, yeah, really wonderful film, really inspiring in the way it's made. Direction, of course, by Wenders, spot on, and I just the acting by Harry Dean Stanton, a great actor he was, and just it's this is just what a performance this is, and I think the blocking in this film as well, the dialogue scenes in particular, really something else, and lighting, and obviously very famous, iconic sequence that I've seen an image of before, that everyone, a lot of people are aware of towards the end of the film. That was just, wow, so unique in the way that kind of played out, and just perhaps the ending didn't quite, it wasn't perfect for me, but for the most part, that final act left me in a very emotional way. So yes, Paris, Texas, highly investing film this, and yeah, I loved it. So there we go. For me, it was quite easy. That one there. So for June, I had to go with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Just a very charming film. Wacky, but very clever as well in the way it's kind of simply done, but very clever in the way it's doing, playing on these historical figures, and they kind of in the way it's kind of doing time travel as well, and just love this film really for the most part, and just a very unique film, and hilarious at times, and just so warm and kind of charming. This one, so yes, loved Keanu Reeves in this film, and it was just really great to see. So interested in the sequels to an extent, but I think this one will remain my favourite. It's just really a lovely film to see. So yeah, that was for June. Obviously, Carry On Clear was quite close to that actually. I was deciding between the two, but Bill and Ted for me personally, just really hit the notes for me, and one of the films, the kind of films that I really love seeing. Just a wacky, kind of charming, funny film like this. So yes, Bill and Ted, really uplifting film, and there we have it for May and June. So, what do you think? What you've been watching recently? What do you think of these films? But what have you been watching? Obviously, it'd be great to hear, and share in the comments whatever you want. And obviously, what was your favourite first watches? You can kind of leave that as well in the comments of May, June, July. Now we're into obviously. So what have you been doing, and what have you been enjoying the most over this time? So yes, that's it for now. We'll wrap up. Been great to do this as always, and look forward to more content on the channel very soon. Different things, carrying on different series, coming back to different things as well, and yes, looking forward to, as always, steadily uploading to the channel. So yes, as always, take care, and thanks for watching.